What up? What up? What up? Hey man, it's Rec League Podcast, man. My name is Randy Little. If you new to this, if you returning, I appreciate you. If you if you a regular man, if you a regular listener, regular viewer, you are definitely appreciated. This episode we react to the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and we talk '80s movies. I got the homies, Nick Goodman, Eric Sigmund. Jump on whatever uh, podcasting platform you use and check out that Sigmund Cinema podcast. He's killing it every episode. Melissa and the homie Sean, who was last on the football episode, so like around Super Bowl, like early February was the last time he was on, and we chop it up, man. '80s movies, slashers, action, favorites. The '80s was so diverse and so original, man. So like, it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot that we left out too. Like, it sucks to say, but it's a lot of '80s movies that we didn't get a chance to talk about. It's incredibly fun. Like, this was a very fun episode. Like, I'm throwing questions out there, giving short answers, and I just let them discuss, and it was dope, man. Hitting up the recent releases. But right after the last episode, Conjuring 3 came out on Blu-ray. Peter Rabbit 2 came out on Blu-ray. Looked like some crap came out on Blu-ray too. But then this past Tuesday, In the Heights came out. Dune, the '80s Dune got some re-releases. The sequel to the Mortal Kombat animated movie came out. Battle of the Realms, Fear the Walking Dead season 6 came out, and 12 Mighty Orphans. This upcoming Tuesday, Zack Snyder's Justice League gets a physical media release, 4K Blu-ray. There's some combo packs in there. Like, this, man, like, for so many people that never even thought this movie was gonna be released, the shit got a high definition physical media release. Like, I'm geeked. Young Sheldon season 4 comes out, and then the Tuesday before the next episode, Black Widow is coming out, and the Boss Baby Family Business is coming out. Zola is coming out. I might blind buy that. So yeah, man, when I get back, I'm gonna be with my friends, and we're gonna talk about some 1980s movies. It is Rec League Podcast, baby.
Sorry, Randy.
As you should be. Yeah. Stupid intro. We're back, and got my usuals. Melissa, Eric, Nick, Sean. Say what up.
What's up?
The face of one of the top 2 most viewed podcasts from Reg League on YouTube. I want to say it's not 2, but it is 2. Before we get into the main conversation of '80s movies in all its glory, I need to talk about that Spider-Man trailer. Sean, did you see it?
Yeah, there was a Spider-Man trailer?
There was.
Yeah. What?
Melissa doesn't care about Spider-Man.
Very good.
So,
Let Sean speak on it.
yeah, man, what you think?
Man, I'm hyped for it. Like, I can see Marvel doing, and Sony, because it's actually a Sony movie, in the MCU. People forget that. But I can see also, them, the way Marvel does their trailers, collabing and all that, and doing a lot of misdirect. You know what I mean? So it's like, we see the bomb from the Green Goblin, see Doc Ock there, see Mr. Sandman. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I understand, they're trying to keep the mystery. I still think Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in this movie. I also think, people, breaking down the Easter eggs on these videos saying, like, Charlie Cox is in it. I would I'm a huge Daredevil fan. I think Ben Affleck's movie Daredevil. I think Ben Affleck did a good job, but I think Charlie Cox to me is the best Daredevil. I could see him maybe being in this movie, but not in the part they're talking about. I could see him being in the other Disney Plus movies like She-Hulk, because she's a lawyer. I could see him being introduced in that and maybe some other things. But overall, I'm hyped for this. Like, I know they try not to give too much away.
Yeah.
And all that, but yeah, I mean, I can't wait.
If
I just hope they don't push it back. That's what I'm hoping they don't do.
Anybody that saw Shang-Chi in IMAX over the weekend know, like, we got to answer to that scene. We got to answer. We got to answer to the precinct interrogation or whatever it is. What's like, Nick? What's like the most ridiculous theory that you've seen from after this trailer came out?
The one that really got me,
Like,
and
super
it's
eye roll.
It's so wrong. Like, there's the little voiceover thing, like when the screen goes black, and it's like, "Be careful what you wish for, Parker." And everybody's arguing about like whose voice that is, and a lot of people think that it's James Franco.
It sounded exactly like Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's Cumberbatch's voice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like, I mean, like, I could be wrong. Like, I'm not like 100% right. Like, but it's his voice. Other people think it's Willem Dafoe, and I'm like, okay, maybe. Like, that would make more sense than Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like it is not Franco's voice at all.
Sony,
Also, like,
Sony, and especially Disney aren't touching James Franco with a 10-foot pole.
Agreed.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially after what he wants to do with his 10-foot pole.
Yeah. But it's clearly Benedict Cumberbatch's voice. Like, nobody, like, is even, they're trying to think, like, who is that? Who is that? And it's like, there's probably some kind of weird twist with Doctor Strange or something. Like, I don't know. I loved it because it was like a tease.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect teaser.
Let's show everything. Yeah.
I saw, like,
I don't need another trailer.
I've seen like that freeze frame still where there's like speculation that when like the Inception Doctor Strange like multiple train thing is going, that Toby's like stretched out across the front of that train. And in the IMAX trailer, it's hard to say it's not.
I need to go. I think if I see Shang-Chi again, which I will, I think I might need to see it in IMAX again and like, watch the trailer.
Let me see. Do we all think at the end that Doc Ock is talking to Tom Holland?
No.
I don't think so.
I think he's talking to Toby.
So do I.
Yep. I don't know. They're both named Peter.
They are both named
it's really
Peter.
Hard to say.
Very
it's
true.
Hard to say.
Very true.
I think he's talking to Andrew Garfield.
No.
But then he called. I'm trying to remember. Like in Spider-Man 2, he didn't call him Parker. Like he called him Peter, right? Like throughout the movie. Okay.
The only one
So,
that really
like,
called him Parker was J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Parker.
And Jim, apparently.
Eric, where was Wong going when he said, "Strange, don't cast that spell"?
Man, who knows? He's gonna be in like by the time
Benedict Wong is killing the MCU right now.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a theory I'm surprised a lot of people have been speaking on. Where is he going? But yeah,
Going to his cage match.
We just saw him this weekend. He's obviously, we're gonna see him in December. Obviously, we're gonna see him in March, barring no delays.
Right.
And it's on What If this week.
Yeah. And the great segue, maybe the best segue ever in Rec League history. After this past What If, is Doctor Strange Supreme in Spider-Man No Way Home?
Yeah, they'll probably work more towards that because the Strange movie comes out just 3 months after the Spider-Man, the new one. I think they'll have to toy with that. I can't see them. Yeah, why wouldn't they? With all the stuff that's going to be going on with the multiverses and I think they'll save that and hint at that. It'd probably be something to do with the post or mid-credit sequence leading into the multiverse of madness.
It's kind of all I got Spider-Man related.
It's gonna get crazy in the MCU real fast.
Real fast.
I hope it's not too crazy. I hope it's not like a mess. It's like,
No.
I don't know. Like, I remember getting like 1 or 2 movies a year. Like, I remember, what was it like? Thor: The Dark World came out in like November of 2013, and then The Winter Soldier came out in like April. I remember feeling like that was like the longest wait. Like, I was like, I just want the next one. And it was like a few months, which is like normal. Now it's like, we just, like, Black Widow isn't even like, it's still in theaters. Shang-Chi is already here. We're going to have Eternals. Spider-Man, like, right on top of Eternals.
If everything holds.
I mean, I'm excited. I don't care. But it's like, I don't know. What if it's mayhem? Like, what if it's just chaos?
Sometimes chaos is good.
Yeah.
What if it sucks? It's not going to suck. There's no way.
Yeah.
No.
There's no way. It's going to be too good. What if?
I mean,
what if it sucks?
Has everybody seen Shang-Chi that's on right now? Or everybody, Melissa, have you seen it?
Sorry, no. I haven't been to a theater in a very long time.
Okay. Just say,
disrespecting the culture.
Don't wanna like spoil it for anybody, but I will say this. As a kid, I grew up watching martial arts. I used to watch Saturday at 4:00 in New York, Kung Fu Theater. I grew up on that. One of my favorite movies is Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee,
Nice.
And it's crazy because I think that is one of like the hand-to-hand fighting, and that is insane. And out of the 20 plus MCU movies, it's definitely in my top 5.
Wow.
Easily after watching that movie.
That's great. I love to hear stuff like that. Randy loved it too. I know that.
Yeah, I'm going again to take my nephew and niece and nephew tomorrow. So,
Yeah, Nick said he wants to go again.
yeah, I'm dying. Yeah, I'm going.
Dude, September's so light.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely going again.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So Friday, I'm going tomorrow. Yeah.
I think it's like 10, 11, 12 or something like that, which doesn't sound high, but there's like 25 movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Black Widow was kind of like, I loved Black Widow. I thought it was great, but it was still kind of bottom half. And like Shang-Chi was like way up. I forget where I had it placed. My top 10 is kind of concrete. Like I was like, it kind of doesn't move, but I think it's like 11 or 12 or something like that. So I really enjoyed it. But Spider-Man's going to be better.
That's the hope.
You guys should do a full Marvel episode when that's coming out.
Oh, we will. In December, though, I don't know. Like, I'm going to try to keep it Christmassy.
Is that when it's coming out?
Yeah, it comes out in December. That's the thing. Like, December.
Well, we can definitely do a Christmas and another week you could do a Marvel. Maybe.
One December episode is always, like, favorite of the year and all of that.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, there's that, too. Or you could push that to Jan. I don't know. I don't want to tell you how to.
That's what Sean said. He doesn't want Spider-Man to move. And, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, me neither. But in the back of my head, I'm like, if it did move, though, like, that would not be in the middle of Christmas.
Because you like your Christmas movies,
Yeah.
right? I have to watch all my Christmas stuff, too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
December's so crowded this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but December's always like that. Like, I was always seeing a Star Wars every single Christmas, right?
Like, nothing else came out with Star Wars. It was like Star Wars came out, there was nothing else like.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw some shitty movies that came out along with Star Wars, I guess.
It was always like movies that weren't gonna be competition to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's good.
Eating Star Wars audience.
But towards the end of this year, it is going to get crazy because you're gonna Disney Plus is going to have you have the Mandalorian, but then you're going to have the Book of Boba Fett. That's going to lead into, and then all these other little mini shows they have, and then you got, like you said, Spider-Man coming. I mean, it's going to be rough.
The Matrix,
like,
Kingsman,
days later,
Sing.
Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah, when's Matrix?
Like the 22nd
of December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Like I said, that's going to take the short end of the stick because most people, I believe, are going to stay home and watch that on HBO Max.
Oh, shoot.
And nobody's talking about it. People don't even know I brought it up to somebody. They were like, "You mean John Wick 4?" I'm like, "No, The Matrix 4." You know, people.
You mean Bill and Ted 4?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah, that Matrix, I don't think it's gonna do well, unfortunately, because you want to see. You know.
Aw, come on.
That one, I hope they do move. I hope they do move that to like.
Yeah, if they're smart, they gotta move that. Yeah, for their own good. I think they gotta move that.
Yeah.
Well, I heard Bill and Ted that came out in 1989, so I'm using that as a lazy segue.
There you go. You're welcome.
Thank you. What is everybody's favorite? We're gonna go around the panel. What is everybody's favorite '80s movie, and why is it Batman? Melissa, start us off.
Back to the Future. Look. I'm wearing merch as usual.
There you go.
Nice.
Represent.
Yeah, I couldn't find my Back to the Future shirt, so
I have several, I
plays.
guess. Yeah.
Nick. Never mind. You were born in 1990. You don't count.
It's probably The Empire Strikes Back, right? Like that's
Nick, you and me, man. That's yeah.
I mean, right? It's like the best movie of all time, like ever. That and Splash.
Okay.
Oh man.
I think you mean The Little Mermaid, but anyway.
If I was making a list of like the best '80s movie, The Little Mermaid would be on the list
Well, there you go.
for sure.
Not
So would
Splash.
Splash. Just like to me, number one's gotta be Star Wars. And like Empire's better than Jedi. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jedi fans.
Yeah, nobody's gonna disagree with you. Hopefully.
Right.
No. Somebody would. My high school buddy would.
There's always someone.
I should have just made a list. I don't really need to make a list. I can just rail off the best thing.
Yeah, I have my list ready.
Yeah.
Eric.
So this is I got a small segue because I think Melissa and I are the only people on the pod who have seen this movie. And segueing from Return of the Jedi, which was directed by Richard Marquand. There's a movie, it was a courtroom thriller.
Ooh,
and Richard Marquand directed it called Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most underrated movies of all time.
Great movie.
I just saw this for the first time.
And what did you rate it?
5 stars.
You're damn right.
I absolutely loved it. And I did not expect to like it that much.
And I know you all know Robert Loggia was in it. This is his sole Oscar nomination for supporting actor. And well deserved. But to get back to the original question. So Nick, Randy, I'm assuming y'all haven't seen it.
I used to listen to Jagged Edge.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm looking for a window to fit in an R&B joke and featuring Nelly and
that.
Meet Me at the Altar and
I knew one of y'all were gonna jump on it. But to answer that question, man, it's some Empire Strikes Back. I think somebody said Back to the Future or will say it. Mine's gotta be man, it get so interchangeable. The 80s was just a great decade for movies, but I'm gonna have to say the Ghostbusters. And I think it's just such a lightning in a bottle movie. And I was just talking about this with somebody else. For those of you who can remember, or even if you watch the movie to this day,
watching it in November,
the elements that they put together is essentially a comedy that's filmed like a horror movie. Mm-hmm. If you go back and think of it, listen to the composer that they got. Comedies back in the 80s weren't filmed in true widescreen or CinemaScope like Ghostbusters was, you know what I mean? And go back, look at all the disturbing scenes, like when the creatures they grab Dana and the couch and take into the room, and you know what I mean? It was some heavy stuff in that movie.
Yeah,
and it was balanced out by obviously the comedy, which was great. But you know, if you take a 5-year-old today and put them in front of this movie, I bet their little heads be frightened off if you remember like the heavy stuff that happened in this movie. And it's so well balanced.
What's Sissies?
It's just I think it's almost a perfect movie if you So yeah, that's my opinion on it. It's fantastic, and the writing. Like I said earlier off air, I'm a nerd for special features. Listening to the audio commentary. Trivia: Ghostbusters was my first DVD I ever bought, and still got it over there. Anyway, there's a commentary, and you watch it, you see Bill Murray. You know he's just ad-libbing and doing this and that, right?
Yeah, his improv had to be crazy.
And the thing is, he didn't. They were so in tune with each other. Hal Ramis and Dan Aykroyd said they would expect him to say certain things and do certain things. It's all in the script. There's like little to no improv, and that's amazing. You watch that, and you're like, but wait a minute,
that'll be the last time you let the host look like an asshole.
But no, that's the point. That speaks to the point of it. Who doesn't think there's just a bunch of ad-libbing going on in that movie, you know? But
yes,
yeah, it's Ghostbusters for me.
There was ghosts and there was busting and there was no ad-libbing.
There you go.
Randy, what's yours?
I said Batman.
Oh.
Nobody agreed with me.
But you didn't do your little spiel on it. So yeah.
We're supposed to be a team.
It's like totally Batman. Totally.
Good answer, but yeah, sorry.
It's on it's on my list. My list is it's like it's all like the paint by number. It's like Back to the Future, duh. Raiders of the Lost Ark, duh.
Mm-hmm.
E.T., duh.
Yeah.
The back of the VHS said best movie of the 80s. Batman.
You know what?
Trying.
All of the movies that have been named so far are in the top 10 of the top 80s highest grossing movies.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was back when that was synonymous.
I was a child, so I wasn't exactly looking for the art house.
Yeah.
It's
we barely had just bought our first VCR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna?
That was
what are your local jumbo video gonna have?
What's that, Nick?
It was the art house. That's when the two things were synonymous. It was E.T. is the best movie ever made, but it's also a pop culture phenomenon. Whereas
that's true. Same with Star
Avatar,
Wars. Yeah.
no offense to Avatar, it is kind of a classic. But I read something where it's just it's crazy that Avatar is the biggest movie ever. No one ever quotes Avatar. No one wears.
Nobody dresses up as this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nobody's I
do love Avatar though, but I get why people always talk about how there's no lore, mythology, or
no, because it's basically Blue Fern Gully.
I do like it though, I have to say, because I rewatched it and I was like, oh, I still like it that much.
But it's funny, like what Eric said.
You know, Blue Fern Gully.
I remember, in the '80s, the genre was the genre. If a horror movie was a horror movie, a comedy was a comedy, action was action. Thriller was thriller. Ghostbusters. Just now, if you think back, you said had horror aspects, and it was and the comedy, and they were the first ones to do the comedy horror genre. To back then, that was new. Yeah. And I think that's what grasped people. I mean, the movie was great, it's fantastic, but nobody was mixing genres together.
Well,
and I
what
think
about
back,
Beverly Hills Cop is action comedy?
But that's what I'm saying. But I think Ghostbusters came before Beverly Hills.
Yeah, for sure.
Cop. So I think
just by a few months.
Oh wow.
I think a lot of if you think about that decade, stuff that's going on now, they took off from the 80s.
Yeah.
The 80s spurned off a lot of stuff that people are copycatting now. And back then, in '84, I mean, you had Gremlins, you had
Terminator.
I think Terminator. You know what I mean? It's
Karate
Kid. They say Karate Kid. '84 was probably say in the '80s the best
Nightmare on Elm Street
year for movies. Nightmare on Elm Street. Things like that. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
And to speak on what Sean is talking about for a minute about the mashing of genres, the experimentation in the '80s. There's what was 48 Hours? Was that 1983?
82.
82.
Maybe 81.
You know, you got that movie, which basically kicked off the buddy cop movie. But then, years later, Randy, another movie came out. And we're going to talk about that. Because y'all know they look at Melissa like, what
you got a death wish? Pull the trigger. Put it in your mouth.
You know,
Great.
But another movie, like the mashup, like Ghostbusters. I want to see if y'all go. If I said, "Hey, there's a great mystery sci-fi horror movie,"
it was 82.
And what would y'all think I was talking about?
Mystery sci-fi.
Yeah, mystery sci-fi horror.
The Thing.
A fantastic mashup.
The Thing.
It's a mystery of who this thing is, and it's a horror because this thing is grotesque.
The Thing.
And it's sci-fi because this thing is from space. The Thing.
The Thing.
It's like Little Shop of Horrors.
It is just a great mashup, I think. Just like you don't really think about it when you're watching it, and it's all of those things equally presented and equally great. You know, it's a mystery movie because who is the thing? Sci-fi horror, space, and the horror element is obvious. But yeah, it's
came out on the same day as Blade Runner.
What's that?
So they came out on the same day as Blade Runner.
And the two biggest flops of that year, which is crazy, and now considered classics.
Yeah.
The Thing and Blade Runner. And, you know, it didn't help that E.T. came out the same year.
Oh,
I know shit.
We want a friendly alien. We don't want bad alien. And, yeah, and everything else, I think those were like the only two big R-rated movies, budget-wise, in 82.
Alf is a friendly alien.
Blade Runner looks like it costs so much. It looks so good. Did it really cost like as much as I think? And did it bomb?
Yeah, it bombed. It wasn't. But it was a whole bunch of issues behind because Ridley Scott basically was fired. The theatrical version wasn't his movie. The final cut is the definitive version of the movie.
Ridley Scott and Harrison Ford bumped heads, didn't they?
No, actually, no, they didn't. It was a studio.
Oh,
basically them with the studio. And there's like
It's such a beautiful movie, like maybe the most beautiful I've ever seen.
Except for the sequel, which is more beautiful. But we'll talk about that later. But no, even so, like I said, I'm a nerd special features guy. The theatrical version has that voiceover.
You're just a nerd.
Have y'all seen the theatrical version?
Yep.
With the Harrison Ford's voiceover?
Harrison Ford's voiceover,
yeah, he was, his name was Daft and whatever. But, they didn't want that because studio thought the audience was stupid and they needed the voiceover. And there's outtakes of Harrison Ford recording the voiceover. It's hilarious. He was just reading and he just stopped in the middle like, oh, this is bizarre. You know, his Harrison Ford voice. Like, this is why we need to do this.
Where are the Ewoks?
A young Edward James Olmos was in there too. So
yeah, young. He was like 48.
I mean. Compared to now, but
nah, he was younger. But yeah, some people just always got that mature look, even though they're young. Like Edward James almost was. But yeah, that and Splash was great. So
always had a mature look. Tom Hanks in Splash.
But speaking, I don't know. I'm sorry to hogging it. But speaking of Tom Hanks and kids watching movies that they shouldn't. I was watching Bachelor Party at an age where I shouldn't have been anywhere near it.
Oh, man.
But y'all can go with that.
Lots of raunchy stuff in the 80s, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Porky's.
Revenge of the Nerds.
You just go Porky's. Animal House. I guess Animal House isn't that.
Animal House was 79, sir.
Yeah, 70s.
It was 80s. It's crazy that it was 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I used to sit and watch Trading Places like as a child.
Who didn't? That's like a
time.
I watch it every Christmas.
The party scene. There's lots of nudity, and I was just like, nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I guess I grew up kind of normal. Not really.
Yeah, it was a little shocking when I saw it as an adult. I was like, oh, that's how this movie goes. And then for the past 10 years, I've been watching it every Christmas. I didn't even realize I was doing it, I think, until maybe we had one of those Christmas podcasts or something. And I was like, wow, I watch that every year. It's crazy.
Well,
yeah, that's a tri-holiday movie. They go from Thanksgiving through New Year's, right?
Yep.
Trading Places.
There's also,
Yeah.
Like Uncle Buck is another one that I watch every year.
Ooh.
I love that one.
Scrooge,
That was 80s?
Planes, Trains.
89, I think.
Uncle Buck was 88, 89.
Yeah, because
Wow,
that's the first year I have memory of anything happening. So I ended up liking a lot of movies that year and not really remembering anything before. And only now as an adult I go back and watch that.
I got a curveball for y'all. I think all of these movies were in the 80s. What's well, the ones that count. I don't give a damn about Vegas. What's the best vacation movie?
Christmas.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Who said Christmas?
Randy.
Randy? You mean
all of them.
that movie that made a certain Instagrammer physically ill from watching it and they couldn't finish it? That Christmas
Hey, man.
vacation?
Hey man, I'm gonna take it to the 2000s right quick. Talk about The Village, because anybody hating on the classics is those we do not speak of.
Damn right, that's just crazy.
We ain't naming no names.
Talk about how I tried it and I didn't.
We ain't giving no promotion to no haters. Naming no
we
names.
ain't saying right. You see how that phrase that
Christmas classic.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking a lot about that. I think Eric, you were talking about like the Christmas tree or Christmas light scene, or you were like very relatable to you as an adult now that you have your own place.
Oh yeah, they're putting the house. God dang. But yeah, I mean that's saying something too. I think all three, even European Vacation. I don't know, people like to hate on that one. Then
It's better than Vegas.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it is.
definitely.
Is Vegas
Yeah.
really that bad?
No, but yeah. I never remember like I've seen Vegas probably the fewest times. It came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it's just Vegas is just kind of there. Like, I remember European Vacation. Like, when you mention, I immediately think of him driving and, like, trying to turn.
Yeah, the roundabout. Like, look at
Like, yeah, that's funny.
I've definitely seen movies copy that then.
Mm-hmm.
That's humor.
All right, what let me see. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play.
Yeah.
What's your favorite slasher franchise that started in the 80s?
Melissa?
Eric.
Oh.
Give me, yeah.
I volunteered. I'll go. So I'm about to say something real controversial here. Randy, you're an actor. No, I'm just kidding.
That's how you feel?
No, you know what? Dang. I was about to say one, but that didn't start in there.
Yeah. No Halloweens, no Texas Chainsaw.
But easily, it's A Nightmare on Elm Street for me. And I'm going to say
Same.
Friday the 13th, which was 1980.
Yeah.
Is my least favorite of the kickoffs of the slasher series. And people remember the Friday the 13th series for one thing. When you think Friday the 13th, who do you think of?
Jason,
who was not in Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Jason.
And
as illustrated
also,
in the original screen.
There's another movie. The writers admit this. Sean Cunningham and some other writers, they admit that they copied the straight bit off a lot of other movies that came before it. And better movies. And I'm brain farting now, but I'll remember it. There's one movie in particular which is considered the first slasher movie that came out in the 70s. I'm blanking on the name, but Friday the 13th borrowed a lot from that movie.
Halloween.
It's called the Pier or something, but I'll get it. But anyway, Friday the 13th is not a good movie in my opinion.
Yeah, like I was doing like a random binge like 3-4 years ago. Like the original Friday the 13th is kind of just okay.
Yeah, it's not classic. Everybody, because going through the years and the years, Jason gets popular. Friday the 13th, the name gets popular, and you just automatically assume that the first one was a classic, and it wasn't. I know it's the 70s, but I'm using it as an example. Halloween, the first one.
Kevin Bacon.
But the movies in the 80s, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the one my pick, and even Child's Play 1 were actually good movies.
The original Child's Play is underrated to me.
Yeah.
Very underrated.
Child's Play is fantastic. I'm tempted to say Child's Play just because like 1 was so good to me, and like 2 was also like
Yeah, it was decent.
Like almost as good as one.
Yeah.
Not quite, but
I
it's
agree.
like close. Whereas Nightmare 2, I like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, but it's like definitely not as good as the first. Like for sure, not even close as good as the first.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like interjected with that. I felt like sorry.
No, yeah, that's fair enough. You can say that. But no, Nightmare on Elm Street was just the concept of it, and you know, concepts could mean nothing if they're not executed well. And this one was very well executed, and just that something can get you when you go to sleep, where you're most vulnerable. And they just played, they played that up as much as they could. And Wes Craven, I think he was just, and years later he would reinvent the slasher genre again, and we'll talk about that later.
That's
but with
90s.
the Nightmare on Elm Street,
That's
he was
90s.
just on point. And and even like the Friday the 13th, getting away from that, we forget that Jason, most people, wasn't in the first one. And with Friday the 13th, a little trivia for you: they never call him Freddy in the movie. It's always Fred
Krueger.
Fred Krueger, yeah.
Fred Krueger. And also, this is the only movie where a part of his his famous makeup or costume is different from every single other appearance ever. Look at any still from A Nightmare on Elm Street. I say Friday the 13th. Look at Freddy Krueger's sweater. It's the only movie where his sleeves are just solid red. They don't have stripes on them. Every subsequent appearance, his entire sweater is striped up, including the sleeves. And like I said, I'm going to be a big nerd on this episode. But look at it again. You'll notice.
I don't believe you.
Nice. Let's check that out.
But that's just me being a nerd. It's one
Goes
of my
immediately to Google.
and you're like, whoa, I never noticed that. I guarantee you. A Bay of Blood. That's the original slasher movie.
Oh.
It's a foreign movie.
It's pronounced Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What was that?
I was like, it's pronounced Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that was 71. Bay of Blood. The first was considered the first slasher movie.
See, I don't. To me, it's like I like the first Friday the 13th, especially like I rewatched them all last year. Like
it's
when
not
I got that
terrible.
set,
Don't get me wrong.
really, like examined it. I like the first one. It's not the best one of the series, which is something like you said, like I think people would assume. Like I think people that have never seen it in 2021 assume that it was like this game changer. Like it's like because it is a classic, people assume like, oh yeah, that's one of the best of all time. And it's really not. It just was not a game changer. It just kind of kicked off the slasher craze. It was like Halloween kicked off Friday the 13th, and then Friday the 13th kicked off. Like there were like 8 of them a year, like all throughout the 80s. I think
funny enough.
Did you guys know that Freddy's sleeves were solid red in the original Nightmare?
You really looking at it?
I did. Huh?
Oh, yeah, that famous
even
part.
like when his arms were long when he was walking down the shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd they change it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
For stripes. Freddy earned his stripes.
Earned his... Jesus.
Oh, you just that's a story.
Sweet Lord.
Talk about Friday 13.
Y'all take my humor for granted.
Eric, have you ever seen the documentary? It's called Crystal
Never
Lake.
Crystal Lake.
Was it Crystal Lake Memoirs?
Yeah, I saw that one.
I saw the other one.
Never Sleep Again with Nightmare on Street. That's what I haven't seen. I gotta see that one.
Oh, that's great.
The Crystal Lake Memoirs, like you say with Sean Cunningham, like it's crazy how they took the different, like you say, different aspects from different movies and put it together. And then here's a little bit of trivia. Everybody, when they do, the cosplay of Jason, they was with a hockey mask and all that. Where did the hockey mask first show up? In which movie?
Part 3.
Oh, I know this one because I'm a nerd.
You're a fucking nerd. It was Friday the 13th, Part 3. Duh.
Yeah. Yep. When Shelly's wearing the mask.
Yeah.
that's where he got it from. Everybody, assumes that, oh, Jason, all that. But yeah, a lot of stuff with Friday the 13th doesn't happen until later on in the series.
Yeah, that will
people
become...
just the icon, so
because people forget about the burlap sack he had on his head with the eyeball cut.
Yeah, with the one eyeball, yeah.
Oh man, but yeah,
that wasn't like original either. Like, didn't
yeah, it's I've seen that.
Am I wrong? The Town That Dreaded Sundown, didn't that come out before Friday the 13th too, or was it the same year?
The original came out in the 70s. The original came out in the 70s.
Yeah.
Then they did the remake.
See, Jason wasn't doing shit original ever at any point. Like that's the thing about those movies. I enjoy them, like almost all of them, but they were not like game changers. They were just the most popular ones.
Right.
Whereas Freddy Krueger was like game changer for the genre. It was like, wow, they took the genre and like it wasn't in a camping ground. It wasn't in a summer camp or whatever. Like it was completely different.
And they had
Chucky was like a different thing.
And by no coincidence, the Friday the 13th series, they had the bigger muscle behind them. That was the only one that had a major studio until Chucky came along. That is. And because New Line was an independent movie production company, and even Halloween was an independent movie, but that's the 70s. But most of the sequels came in the 80s. So, and which was crazy because Paramount executives were embarrassed of the Friday the 13th series, but it was making them so much money.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this money! Don't look at me, but give me the money.
Hey, but it's like Halloween took that break though. Like Season of the Witch was what, like 82? And then Return was 88. Freddy came in and stole all of that.
Yeah, it was 80. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But also the concept, though, like Eric was saying, to me, it's Nightmare on Elm Street as well. It's like the concept, like you sleep, it's someone in your nightmare or in your dream is trying to kill you. We all had that weird dream, like somebody's chasing us or whatever that feels real. And like you fall off a building and you wake up before you hit. Everybody has that. But that concept, that's something that's out of the box that nobody ever thought of.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like I'll pick Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween is my top franchise, but Nightmare on Elm Street is right there with it. And I think that concept alone, like who would have thought of that? Slasher movie like Sleepaway Camp. That's no different than, Friday 13 in a sense, it's just, different version of it. But at the end of the day, someone in your dreams trying to truly kill you and it's actually real, that's a whole different level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're right about the dream. I had a dream like that the other night. I woke up
nobody wants to hear about your perverted
distraught, and man, all my movies were gone. No, it was simple. I mean, all my movies were gone. There was only one movie on the shelf, and I'm like, "What is it?" It was blurry, and I got close and closer.
I know what's coming.
Justice League.
Oh, what is it, Melissa? I'm curious.
Splash. You guys are just trying to see.
No, it's not Splash. I was gonna make a joke about something actually. No, but the dream was I got closer and closer, and it was one movie. It was
the theatrical Justice League.
Oh no, it was worse than that. It was Tyler Perry's
Dark Phoenix.
Jail.
Enough said. Dark Phoenix.
I woke up like, jeez, I'm alive. Well, yeah, Melissa, what's yours? Did you say anything?
Melissa, if
this isn't my genre, but
if all movies disappeared and there was only Child's Play, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th, which one are you picking? There's no other options.
I think I saw Child's Play when I was a kid. When did that come out?
88.
88.
Yep.
Yeah, so I probably did. Yeah, we saw. I think that's when we got our first VCR, and that's when I first started really. We were really watching everything around that.
Heidi ho, ha ha ha.
I remember with Child's Play, that was just another one that I saw like super young. Like I was probably like 8 when I first saw Child's Play.
Yeah.
Around the time Chucky came out, and it was like you'd go to daycare or school or wherever, and like you'd talk to the kids, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I've seen Chucky." They did the same thing with Candyman. Like, yeah, you don't know about the Candyman. So I'd be like, obviously I do.
I'm such a
And I
badass.
feel like that's the first time I ever watched Child's Play. And I was like, yeah, Chucky the killer doll. Like you look at the VHS tape and it's like Chucky holding a knife.
Yeah.
But there was a point in time where I watch it and like if you watch it and don't assume that the doll is the killer and you're like wondering like the whole movie they're like thinking it might be the child, like it might be Andy. If you watch it like that, it's an outstanding movie. Like it works both ways. But when you watch it, like you see like the footprints and all this stuff, and it's like, God, the kid's gonna be crazy. Or if like you just put it on to somebody that had no prior knowledge of it, like it really works as like a detective mystery. Like
it's funny you say that. They wanted to play that aspect of it up.
Yeah. The only thing I know what Child Spill killed was the My Buddy sales for that damn doll. My Buddy, because after that movie came out, nobody wanted to buy one of them dolls.
But that's what Eric's nightmare really was about.
If you can see it, I don't know how clear you can see it, but yeah, that's me with the My Buddy doll. That,
My Buddy,
dang movie.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what Eric's nightmare really was.
I got this energy drink the other day when I went to that FYE. It was horrible. It's like cherry flavored, but it was blue. So I was immediately like, oh no. But I'll probably buy another one when the TV show comes on just to drink it while I watch it.
And that's funny how Child's playing Nightmare on Elm Street. Kevin Yeager designed the Chucky doll, and he also worked on 3 of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, makeup effects. So,
man, we just nerding out this whole episode.
The mom from Child's Play, they're still married to this day.
Really?
Catherine Hicks?
Who was that?
Catherine Hicks? That was her name, right?
There you go, Catherine Hicks. Yeah.
Oh,
She's great in that movie. She's like,
it's
like a genuinely great performance.
Yeah,
that she
it is.
gets. I love Child's Play. I'm tempted to be like Child's Play, just because like I feel like there's less. I feel like there's less shitty Child's Play movies than there are shitty Nightmare movies. Maybe.
Yeah.
I would say Seed is like the only Chucky movie that's like I don't even hate Seed. Like I kind of like it. It's kind of funny to me, but like it's pretty shitty. Whereas like
it's so bad.
Nightmare on Elm Street, like Freddy's Dead is shitty.
Oh man, I'm gonna talk about
like
that
4
later.
and 5 are kind of shitty.
Yeah, that's interesting with that.
But I don't know. Who am I?
But yeah, that was the original.
You're not wrong, is what you are.
I also think the Nightmare remake was like worse than the Child's Play remake.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
I would say that for sure.
Oh no!
I didn't hate the Child's Play remake was like kind of okay. It wasn't a remake. It was more. It was like less of a remake. It was just kind of like this is too similar to Child's Play, so we have to just call it Child's Play.
It was like the Karate Kid '84 to the Karate Kid 2010.
2010 Karate Kid was good.
Okay, that's a bad analogy because Child's Play 2019 was ass.
I was like,
that's a decent remake.
It didn't need to be remade.
Oh man,
it didn't need a remake, but it was kind of good. Also, the Karate Kid is on my list of favorite '80s movies.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a good one.
Let me see. I have two things that I want to throw in here that I just come up off the top of my head. So one, who's your favorite director that like really got his big break in the '80s? And I can only think of Tim Burton and Spike Lee.
You should say his or her.
Should we?
Yes, you should.
Sure.
I guess we should say it.
But we got their big break.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that stuff. Like what's a debut and what's not a debut.
Well, like Spike was She's Gotta Have It, and Tim Burton I think was Pee-wee, if it wasn't Frankenweenie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
Frankenweenie was like short
about.
Yeah. So I think it's Pee-wee.
I think of one, but I don't know what I can't think of what his debut was. Or yeah, I can.
Who's?
Like Robert Zemeckis.
Used Cars, wasn't it?
That's a great movie right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm writing this down. I want to see this.
Yeah, with good old Kurt Russell. That was 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Randy, look it up.
I'm trying. Yeah,
That movie, that opening scene.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure was 85.
Oh, yeah. Have any of y'all ever seen, other than Sean, Used Cars?
That movie's great.
Nah.
oh man.
Nah, like it's on my eBay watch list.
No.
As a kid, I used to get it confused. There was like that. There was Cadillac Man, and there was the one with Michael Keaton where he sold cars. And I was like, to my head, in my head as like a child, they were all the same movie.
Yeah, I know. I have that problem too.
Yeah, they do kind of. Yeah.
She's Gotta Have It was 86.
Yeah.
But I mean, Zemeckis had like a beautiful run in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, kind of unbelievable.
Yeah.
What's
Really?
I Wanna Hold Your Hand?
When you think of like, oh yeah, he did. I Want to Hold Your Hand. It was like something about the Beatles.
Well, that was 78,
Yeah,
so Zemeckis is out.
But that was when?
78,
Close.
but no cigar.
So it has to be like their first movie came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
But no, you just said the big break, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I just write the questions. I don't think about all these details. I just write the questions.
I was thinking like John Landis probably like did all of his stuff in the 80s.
Animal House was in the 70s.
No, it wasn't. It was in the 80s. That's an 80s movie. 80s movie. It's like some song.
Animal House
like
was
Tracy
July
Chapman,
28th, 1978.
Song. No. Halloween came out in the 80s. Fuck it.
Well, since y'all arguing that, I got one director, two of the biggest hit movies in the 80s, and those two movies were his second and third movie. His first movie came out 1983 and had David Bowie in it.
Labyrinth?
David Bowie.
Nope.
Oh.
That was 86. Good movie, though. We're going to totally talk about that. So 1983 was a movie called The Hunger with David Bowie. And his next two movies were Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Oh, wow.
Tony Scott.
Tony Scott.
Sir Scott.
When was Beverly Hills Cop 2?
87.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the best Beverly Hills Cop in the movie. And
That's
a
my
series in
least
the movie.
favorite.
You like Beverly Hills Cop 3?
Yeah,
More
I
than
do.
that.
Yeah, I do.
Wonderworld.
Number 2 is one of those raunchy movies where they're just like looking at naked women for like 20 minutes.
We've gone completely off
That's
the
how you
rails.
remember that scene?
Yeah, I was like, what is this? This is not my
They
thing.
were in the strip club for 2 minutes.
We've gone completely
Okay.
off the rails.
It's like too much sex and violence for me.
There was no sex at all
I
in
thought it
the
was a
movie.
90s movie, to be honest, but I guess I was wrong.
I'm also
Had sex in
I'm one
Beverly
of the
Hills Cop
few.
2.
What else did he do? He did Beverly Hills. What else did he do? What did you say before Beverly Hills Cop?
Top Gun.
Oh, yeah. I finally saw that for the first time this year.
Really?
Yeah. I was too young the first go around.
That's another one of those movies like I love Top Gun, but it's like I also watched it when I was young.
Yeah.
Like you hadn't seen it, and you go back and watch it now, like you probably think it's like this classic.
Top Gun has more sex than Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Why are you getting upset? Like, it's just... I don't like those type of movies.
Yeah, I'm just naming a fact.
The movies.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, Top Gun wasn't really like a game changer either. Like,
it's
it was just kind of like...
It's not about the sex. It's about they just go to a strip club and stare at naked women. Like, Top Gun has
they were investigating a crime.
Naked men. That's fantastic for me.
You're right. You like the volleyball scene, right?
At least it's something to... Yeah, it's something to look at, I guess.
Right. There we go.
Shit.
Yeah.
Piggyback.
It was a game changer.
Iron Eagle came out the same year.
Definitely one of his.
Yeah, like that was the main thing. It was like a pop culture phenomenon, and like everyone that was in it became more famous because they were in it.
You mean Top Gun?
Iron Eagle. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
Val
Kilmer, all of
Iron Eagle came out the same year.
Iron Eagle.
And it's the same movie. It's not, but like it is.
Which one was first?
I like Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle was like 5 or 6. It was like January.
Yeah, it was like January.
First.
Top Gun was summer.
Was like
Yep.
Doing
That speaks
it
to
again.
the talent of the movie.
So do you still like Top Gun now, Nick?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Top Gun. I love it. It's great. But it's like it's one of those things where I feel like if I watched it now, I'd probably be like, this isn't that great. Like what?
Yeah.
It's just guys.
I thought it was okay.
And
I didn't hate it. I was
same
like,
like,
okay.
it's like I'm starting to see more and more people with Die Hard. Like we did that whole episode about Die Hard. Like we all love Die Hard. I feel like I'm starting to see it more with Die Hard. Like people, everybody talks about it every Christmas. So like more people are watching it for the first time, and people are coming out like it's not that great.
That's
it's
how
okay.
I felt.
It's like, well, every action movie through the '90s was like jipping Die Hard. Like
yeah,
every
I get
action
that.
movie
I get what
like,
you're saying.
so it's hard to go back and separate that. Same with like Friday the 13th.
Hey, but
that great. And it's like, well, but it kicked off like the entire thing. So you gotta kind
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
but we got Sean to admit that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I will say that. Yeah, you convinced. You guys like it's fun. It's funny because like what? Because like when you watch it as is, it could be a straight up. First of all, it's one of the best movies in the '80s. Secondly, like when you watch it, it's an action movie, but yet it falls in so many different categories. And when I was watching it, I just seen it as it's one of the best action movies around. You know, but then when you bring the Christmas aspect, now you watch it in a different set of eyes, and like, okay, I can see where where you guys were coming from. And I get bad flashbacks and nightmares about this whole conversation. So I mean, it's like it's not good. But you know, piggybacking off Nick and what Randy's question was like you know, with Iron Eagle and Top Gun, that kind of reminds me of like The Sixth Sense and Stir of Echoes. Sixth Sense got more claim, where Stir of Echoes I think is underrated. And it's kind of a similar movie.
It's happened so many times that there's a whole Wikipedia page about this twin film phenomenon that keeps happening. And it's like I saw The 13th Floor for the first time, which came out I think a few months after The Matrix, and man, that movie bombed. But I think it's so good. It's like really good. But hey, I didn't pay attention to it back then either. So.
Yeah.
There's a million of those.
But like Randy was saying to me, I think the director who got their big break was, you know, Nick mentioned a movie earlier that, you know, people make fun of, but, you know, I kind of enjoyed Avatar, James Cameron. You know, he had Terminator. After Terminator, he had, you know, Aliens. And then after Aliens, I think the third movie came out in '89, which I think is very underrated. It's real good, The Abyss. Yeah. I mean, those are three solid movies right there in the '80s.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I've never seen Piranha 2. That's his first movie.
Who has?
I mean, James Cameron doesn't have a single miss.
No.
As a director, like, not even just look, like I would say. Like, his weakest movies are arguably, like, The Abyss and, like, Avatar. And, like, Avatar's really ever. Maybe True Lies, I don't know. It's like...
No True Lies slander on this podcast. Melissa, you've been quiet for, like, most of the whole discussion. So, like, what did you watch in preparation?
Yeah, I watched a lot. Maybe I gotta pull up my... Like Eric brought up Jagged Edge. That was fantastic. That's a Glenn Close, Jeff Bridges courtroom drama. I didn't expect to love it. I loved it. Falling in Love, Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep. That's actually a Christmas movie. You guys should save it for Christmas. I thought it was fantastic, but I love Meryl. I love De Niro. I was like, I'm probably going to like this. I mean, these are two of my favorite actors. And the reviews aren't even that great. It didn't make any money, but damn.
That's one of my mom's favorite movies.
Loved it, yeah. There was something else I rated 5. Peggy Sue got married, and someone brought up Catherine Hicks. Catherine Hicks is this character actress that was in 2 of my favorite 80s movies. Peggy Sue Got Married, which is Francis Ford Coppola.
And Child's Play.
It's kind of like Back to the Future, but like Kathleen Turner is the star. Oh my God, I just loved this movie. Loved it.
Nicolas Cage before he hit maturity.
And Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, when he was a baby, like he was so young. And then she's also in this other movie, which is not a 5-star movie by any means, but it's like a cheesy 80s movie. I like a lot of these cheesy 80s movies. Like She's Out of Control, which stars Tony Danza.
Wow.
And his daughter like has this major makeover at 16 and like discovers how hot she is, and like he goes. Anyways, So funny that you guys bring up Catherine Hicks because it made me think of all those movies I've been watching in preparation. So it's really good that Randy told me. It's really good that Randy told me we're going to do this topic because I feel like I learned a lot. Like I 80s is not a decade I remember
in 2.5 days.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of stuff and it's been really fun and educational. So that was just a few of those movies that I really liked.
Didn't you also watch? Didn't I see that you watched Dune?
Okay, so I tried the 1984 Dune by David Lynch. Yeah. Man, that is just aesthetically one of the ugliest movies I've ever seen. What did she say in Mean Girls? That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen. Yeah, like I had to turn it off. I'm sorry. I don't know if anyone here likes it.
He agrees with you.
I don't know if anyone actually likes it. Okay. This is the first time everyone's agreed, but
no one likes it.
I've never seen the 80s Dune.
Yeah, not even
Sean,
the director of it likes it.
Which one?
Have you seen the original 1984 Dune by David Lynch?
I've seen it, but I was young when I saw it, and I was like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Let me ask you this, Melissa.
Like,
what version of it did you watch?
Why is this?
Oh, I don't know.
Because
I know Lynch is not happy with the I get that, but it is just so ugly looking. Like, and I wanted to like it. I wanted to prepare for the new Dune. I totally was like, okay, I like sci-fi actually, but this is just an ugly.
Yeah, you better off reading the book than watching that movie.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, I just talking about Dune. Like I remember watching it as a kid. I was like, man, this is like disgusting. Like some scenes, like it was just weird as a kid. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I rewatched it like about 2 months ago. Like, all right, because the new Dune's coming out. Like, all right, let me actually sit down. And I'll be honest with you, I got the aspects of like Sean Young's in it and all that, and it's like it was a chore to watch. I was like, man, what is this damn thing gonna end? And it's like this new version looks way better than the original. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't wait for this one.
It's like the elf dude from Bad Santa. Every single fucking thing about it is like, that's how I feel like watching the old.
And it was just a disaster, the production of it, pre-principal and post.
It's too bad, eh?
Yeah, because
and there's another one too. There's another Dune, but it might have been
the TV
the 70s.
There was Children of Dune or something like that.
I don't have it.
There were two mini-series. There was like Dune. I think it was a mini-series, and then there was a mini-series called Children of Dune.
Yep, Children of Dune.
Was in it. I was gonna watch all of that before the new Dune, but it's coming out in October, and I'm not gonna have time. So I'm probably gonna rewatch the shitty old one.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I feel bad, but yeah, it's
can't
funny
wait
that
to
we
sit
all
through
kind
that.
of think the same thing. And I also tried Blue Velvet, talking about Lynch. But yeah, like and the funny thing is, Mulholland Drive is one of my favorite movies.
Also with Tom McLachlan.
But yeah, exactly. So I tried Blue Velvet, and man, huge disappointment for me. I've been waiting 20 years to see this stupid movie. And
it's funny because I think Arrow's dropping Dune like shortly in a few weeks in 4K, and I'm like, all the 4K, 8K, they ain't nothing gonna help.
Yeah.
Oh, look right there.
It's already out.
Yeah.
Oh, see, okay,
Yeah.
And even the production, right down to it, I don't know if they did anything for the release, because even the studio with David Lynch, they argue about the color grading. Every aspect of the movie was just effed.
Poor guy.
So I don't know what that with the 4K if it looks anymore with a makeover.
It's like you guys say it's not his version, blah blah, but it's like he made the decision to put all that gross shit in there. I mean, come on, that's him. He's weird.
That's him. There's a lot of it that's very like, that's David Lynch for sure.
That's what I'm
saying.
Yeah.
It's like, look at that cast, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like
even you guys know Alicia Witt. She was like a child in that movie, which is so cool because I know her like adult career, and she's like the kid in that, which is so funny.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like Patrick Stewart is in that movie. I'm like, what?
Patrick Stewart, Max von Sydow, Sting, like. The cast is like, and it's like, they all had to read this script. They all had to make this movie, and at one point they were probably all like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what is this?
But if you think, like I said,
is this? Going back, I wrote music for this.
Yeah, but the script that they read is not what the finished product turned out to be.
Exactly.
Was it a bomb or did it make money?
It was a bomb.
It was a bomb. And if you think about it, back in the 80s, like I'll show my wife some movies, and she's like, "You watch this?" I'm like, "You got to remember, this is what was big
roasted
back then. Like movies have changed, and like Dune. Probably when they read the script, like I said, it was a different result and product after what the script was, what they read and what it ended up being out there. But back then, that was like a huge, major, like blockbuster. Yeah. That was like the Independence Day of Independence.
It had to have been sold as like this sci-fi game changer.
Yeah, and I mean, so like, I'll be honest with you, like the 80s, some of the movies, like you think about it now, it's nostalgia for me. It's like, you know, a lot of things.
Of course.
Like my nephew watches this stuff, and he's like, "What the hell was wrong with you and my dad watching this stuff?" Like it's
of
like,
course,
it's just
of course. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I have a lot of cheesy favorites, and I'll try to watch them now, and 50% of the time, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't even get through this. What was I thinking? But then the other 50% of the time, I'm like, I still do like this cheesy movie. Like, I can see the flaws. I mean, movies were more ignorant back then, et cetera, et cetera. But stuff like, you know, My Stepmother is an Alien. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I still like that movie, and I loved it back then.
Howard the Duck. I mean, come on.
Cheesy stuff like that. I'm a little curious about Howard the Duck, but
you'll hate it.
Howard the Duck. Hey,
it'll be the most bizarre movie you'll ever watch.
Yeah, I have a lot of books about
Howard the Duck being so trash.
And that's a big cult movie, right?
Howard the Duck being so trash gave us Pixar, though.
Or Endgame. I guess. I watched Howard the Duck before Endgame. Like, I did a big Marvel thing before Endgame, and, like, I just watched, like, every Marvel movie I had. And, like, I hadn't watched it in probably 15 years, 10 years, 15 years. And it's only gotten weirder. Like, Howard the Duck is weirder now than it was when I watched it as a kid. Like, as a kid, I was like, whatever.
Kids
and, like,
are
now,
innocent,
there's duck nudity, and...
Yeah, that was weird.
Ducks.
All kinds of weird stuff. I was like, this is so odd.
Yeah. Oh, no, Melissa, no, don't watch this. It's an almost sex scene, but between the duck and the human.
Yep.
And duck condoms and...
Yeah, that's
wank, wank.
Yeah.
Sean loves it, so...
Like it's
stamp of approval.
Nudity. It's weird and bizarre, and you got a crazy. I think he was on drugs. Tim Robbins.
Yeah, that's another thing. I watched these movies in the 80s, and I'm like, were they really on cocaine? Because I think so. So, have you guys ever seen Once Bitten, starring Jim Carrey?
Of course.
Carrey, yep.
Oh, you guys know this? So I saw this for the first time, and I was like, this is the most bonkers shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, holy shit. What were these writers on? Like the dancing, the dance off, like Lauren Hutton is a vampire or something. Anyway, it's like one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and I'm like, for sure these people were on coke. I don't know how else to explain a movie like this or even a soundtrack like this. Like
but like this, if there wasn't a scene with cocaine involved,
they actually had a song
movie,
with the movie title. There's Once Bitten.
Probably.
Yep.
Sorry, Sean. What was that?
I said, like, in the 80s, if there wasn't a scene showing cocaine, it wasn't an 80s movie. Because that's, like, in every 80s movie you think about, there's a scene of this, a scene of, like, with drugs all over the place. It's crazy.
Scarface was probably the least craziest movie about cocaine.
Nick, have you seen Once Bitten?
I love Once Bitten.
Okay, yeah. Because I was like, you like Halloween stuff, so that would be perfect for you. Yeah.
I need to... Yeah, I watched it a couple of years ago during a Halloween thing.
It's so ridiculous and so 80s in the most quintessential 80s.
Oh,
that's the most 80s movie.
Crazy Jim Carrey and crazy 80s movies. How about Earth Girls Are Easy?
Yeah,
that's a good.
That one I
young
grew
Jeff
up with.
Goldblum's in
yeah,
that. Jeff
that's
Goldblum
like normal. That's like normal shit to me because I grew up with that. So yeah, that didn't faze me.
Watch it recently. It's 80s of all 80s.
That's what I love. That's what I love about the 80s. Like they just go balls out like that. You know that. It's just so crazy. Everything's so muted now. It's very different. But 80s is an explosion of color and music and synth and like all that.
So do we thank cocaine for the creativity in the 80s?
Yeah, I don't know, but I guess that's what SNL writers of that time say, right? That they were all doing that.
Pretty much. But speaking of something, Melissa, that you speak very highly of, and the question that Randy asked, it's one direct. Did y'all mention him? Because he had some pretty decent movies in the '80s. So outside of Melissa's favorite, Splash.
Oh, come on.
We got Cocoon.
That's a good one.
Even Michael Keaton, Gung Ho. I don't know if you ever seen that. Was Willow.
I've heard of it.
Is that the movie where he sells cars?
What's that?
Is that the movie where he sells cars?
Yeah, no, they were car manufacturing.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of. And
I feel like there's another. I feel like there's another one where he sold cars, like on a lot.
Look that up. But the big one was, in my opinion, Parenthood.
I love Parenthood. And wasn't Night Shift also?
Yeah, Night Shift was.
Night Shift.
That was 82. Yeah.
Yep.
Love Night Shift. I love Parenthood too. And I love Splash.
So we steady making fun of.
You don't have any kids.
Poking at Melissa, but no, seriously, Melissa, what didn't you like about it that you can remember? You say you did it 12 years ago, right?
Yeah. So
what the hell is wrong?
I have a lot of reviews from 2008 that I've been digging up, and it was a long time ago, but I wrote that it was like a sexist bullshit fantasy. That's what I wrote. So she comes from the water and just like wants to fuck Tom Hanks so badly. It's like, come on, it just wasn't my thing at all. And I was like, man, I've been waiting to see this. This movie has been hyped in my childhood. And girls were named Madison because of this movie.
Yep.
That was like a massive thing.
It had impact. And I finally saw it as an adult, and I was like, what the hell? It's just so not my type of movie at all.
It's funny. The movie I wanted to see, we kind of got a couple of them. I wanted to see the subplot of the movie with I wanted to see John Candy and Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
And I think that was funnier than the main. I don't know. It's
It's been a while. I love all those actors. I have no problem with any of them, but it just wasn't my type of story. I just couldn't
what you think about
buy
this,
into it.
Melissa. It's I just want to read this right quick about Splash. This is an excerpt from Roger Ebert's 1.5 star review.
See, we're alike on this one.
Here it is. It said, there is a funny movie lurking at the edges of Splash, and sometimes it even speaks on screen and makes us smile. It's too bad the relentlessly conventional minds that made this movie couldn't have made the leap from sitcom to comedy.
And I love sitcoms, so I don't even really think that's the issue, but...
Yeah, it's a lot that he
mastermind Roger Ebert.
Yeah, he breaks it apart. And that's just like a line.
Sorry, guys. I mean, hey, I like a lot of cheesy shit from the 80s, too, that people today are like, how can you like that movie? Like, She's Out of Control. Someone told me that it's this misogynistic movie, and it's a father who wants to control his daughter. But it's like, I get that, but at the same time, I think it's relatable. Like, when I was 16, I got contact lenses for the first time, and I was like, ooh, like, it was a big deal. You get a lot of confidence, and it's fathers do sometimes feel scared of men coming after their daughter. It's normal. Like, I didn't see it that way. I saw it with my innocent, childlike eyes. And my stepmother is an alien. Same thing. It's like, it's kind of like Splash. All those movies are the same. It's like some non-human comes and immediately wants to have sex with some random guy, in this case Dan Aykroyd. It's like, why does she want him so bad? It makes no sense. But as a kid, I love this movie, and I still love this movie. Even though it's ridiculous, it makes no sense at all. It's awesome.
It's like the Little Mermaid. Like, she gave up her voice.
Yeah.
For some guy. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. Michael Keaton and John Travolta turned down the Tom Hanks role in Splash.
Yeah, they were smart.
They were smart. Oh, that's great.
No, but Tom obviously won. I mean, whatever.
No, he didn't. He said himself he's the 11th person they offered that role to.
Yeah, but he has the best career, so I guess he made the right. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get that. I love him. I love his.
Tom Hanks had a pretty good run in the 80s. It was mostly comedies. I think Cat was Big, which is another one of my favorites.
Big is great. That's in my top. I love it.
I adore Big.
What is that, 1988?
88, I believe, yeah.
That's great. That's a great movie.
It feels like a
his
90s.
first Oscar nod was big.
Yeah.
That
wow.
was
Really?
True.
Yeah.
Okay, either I didn't know that or I forgot. Holy crap, that's crazy.
I think that was like his transit. Like he was comedian Tom Hanks. He did that, and then it was kind of like his. Everything he did after that was like, well, Tom Hanks is in this thing. Like, keep your eyes on it. Like he did Philadelphia.
Yeah, like he got established.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy like Bradley Cooper was always a funny guy, but like we don't think of him as a funny guy now.
People already
Once he started doing like stuff, it was like, oh, Bradley Cooper's in it. Watch out.
Yeah, the Midnight
Oscars.
Meat Train didn't do it for Bradley Cooper.
Nope.
It should have. And, you know, it should have. That and Failure to Launch should have, like,
That's a movie I like. Yeah.
catapulted his career.
I like that.
You know, there's a, I consider him, I mean, he was like in the 80s, he was like towards the end of his career, an action star, but he was ahead of his time. You got Charlie Bronson in movies like 10 to Midnight and things like that, you know?
No, not the Cannon movies. And
Yeah.
10 to, you ever heard of 10 to Midnight, Melissa?
Sorry.
You won't want to watch
Death.
that. Tell her the plot.
Yeah, tell me the plot.
So, what is it like? I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's like a serial killer.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's a
Yeah,
very
okay.
distinctive thing that he does.
Yeah, he gets naked. He just basically wears gloves and he has a knife and he just strips down
And he's naked and he targets women.
women.
It's just
Yeah, it's
Wow.
and literally
Yeah,
the end of the movie. It's no spoiler because it's
yeah,
not-
it's,
Go ahead, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's chasing a woman naked, and Charles Bronson is chasing him at the end of the movie. Man, it's quite ridiculous.
He gets
Now
naked
that you-
before he kills people?
yeah,
What's that?
it's
He gets naked before he kills people?
Yeah, he kills
Yeah.
him. Like he just puts on gloves, but he's naked, and
That's really weird.
it's weird.
it's weird. He didn't even know proof. I know that. So it's like it's crazy. But like I think Shout Factor just dropped that not too long ago.
Yeah, they
on
did.
Physical.
It's they going after all the.
Now I know
I'm
what
surprised.
he was doing Death Wish sequels all
Yeah.
through the 80s.
Yeah.
And like the 90s, I think was the last one. It
Right,
was like
Cannon got a hold of the rights. They did 10 to Midnight. They did
So,
the Death Wish movies.
Yep.
Man, he didn't do a thing. Like, he didn't do a thing in those Death Wish. Like, those were paycheck movies. Those were, like,
No,
the
they was. He
animation
said they
Yeah.
were.
Like,
He was
Yeah.
way
like he did
too old.
good. Every movie plot was the same. Like, he had a new girlfriend.
Yep.
And something would happen to the
Yeah.
girlfriend. Like, she would
He'd
get
be in New
raped,
York.
she
He
would
got a
get
girlfriend
shot.
to get attacked. He go to L.A. His daughter got attacked. He go,
Yep.
he go somewhere else. His
Yeah,
girlfriend
like,
gets attacked
so-
again. His new
daughter.
girlfriend, and he had to do the.
And he wouldn't react to it at all. They'd be
No.
like, "It's your daughter," and he'd just be like,
This is like or whatever.
No, yeah, it was Taken before Taken, kind of.
Yeah.
"It was, yeah, it was." You know,
But it
there's a
inspired
lot
some
of-
great skits
tons of
on
movies
In Living
that say
Color.
that,
With,
yeah.
speaking of Jim Carrey, he
Yeah.
he did the Charles Bronson, but
No,
yeah, Tom Hanks was because one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies is just I don't know how it holds up was Dragnet.
That's
He-
yeah.
He and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
haven't seen
God.
it yet.
That holds up.
That holds up.
Okay, I'm writing this one down.
I don't
And,
know.
He did a
I don't
movie
know
too
what
with
that
his
is.
with a woman who would become his mom in Forrest Gump and the same year Big movie called Punchline.
Punchline, yeah.
Punchline.
I haven't seen that
Yes.
yet.
And of course
The reviews were not kind. So
Nah.
I don't
That's
know.
why he was like in that because he was funny and like he
Yeah.
did the Money Pit and the Burbs.
Right, The Burbs is a
The Burbs is a good one.
super
I grew-
classic.
Grew up with the birds.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
He was the funny guy.
Yeah.
The Money Pit. Like that's all comedy. That's like slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
I like the Money Pit.
There's another guy we haven't talked about who it's movie in the 80s, launched his basically career, and like things he said in the recent years haven't helped his career.
No.
But Mad Max, you got Mel Gibson,
Ah,
you know,
yeah.
that launched his career. He had the Road Warrior and all that, and then the got to be one of the best franchises around, the buddy cop franchise is Lethal
Yeah.
Weapon.
Ninja
You know,
Turtle. Oh,
Like
These
So
guys
it's-
love Lethal Weapon. They're crazy
Lethal
for
Weapon,
it.
you know. Because the first, I know Lethal Weapon 1 and 2 were in the 80s, and I think the rest just came out like early 90s.
Weren't y'all talking about this, Melissa? And y'all were talking about people, how they look older than they were. And
like Danny Glover.
But that was purposely. They grayed his hair a bit because he was 39 or 40 in Lethal Weapon playing 50. Because he was supposed to retire in the first movie. People forget that.
Oh, because he's too old for that shit.
Yeah, because he had the birthday cake and everything at the beginning. And when he was supposed to be 50.
I had one of those the other day. Not to get off topic, but I had one of those. Yeah, I was watching The Sopranos. I'm almost done with season 2. And it was the episode where Bill Cobb was in it. He was the guy's father.
Yeah, one of them always old actors.
He was supposed to be 8, like, Tony was like, what are you, like 75? And he was like, add 8 years to that. And it was like, 83. And like, he's 86 now. Yeah. So he would have been 65, maybe. Like, when he was always old.
And what year was that?
That's like Sophia and Golden Girls, and I think Frasier's father. I think they aged them both up a lot.
Yeah.
It's so weird that they even do this, but.
Because Bill Cobb's in Demolition Man, he looked like he was 79. And he was like 52.
New Jack City. He was the old guy. Jack City. And he was probably 50. Yep. Yeah. And he was the Airbud coach. Airbud coach.
Melissa, have you seen the Lethal Weapon movies?
Yeah, I mean, when they first came out, and then I distinctly remember seeing the Chris Rock one. What's that, 3?
That's the 4.
Okay. I distinctly remember seeing that with my whole family.
Oh.
And Joe Pesci.
Yeah, he was in 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay. But I'm sorry, I just don't, like, it's not something I watch every year like you guys.
But I got something to ask y'all, the people who want to answer, because this usually comes up as a debate. I know Randy has his hard answer for the question. Is Lethal Weapon 1 or 2?
Oh.
1.
I gotta say 1.
Yeah.
Randy.
Hey, the dude that asked the question knows.
I only remember Chris Rock.
I'm gonna say 3. I liked 3 when I was little.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Maybe that's the first. Like,
Chris
Rock wasn't big before that. Was he? Maybe that's the first time I experienced him, and that's why it implanted.
Yeah, that would have been 90. Was that 98?
98.
It was like 97.
He was on SNL, but
he was famous.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I don't know if he was like leading movies though.
Nah.
Right.
He
exactly.
was like a stand-up.
Imagine I saw Lethal Weapon 2 with Batman at the drive-in, double feature.
Like for the first.
That's a great night.
Good feature.
That's a great night.
It was like the 5th time I saw Batman.
Oh,
the Lethal Weapon that came out a little later. That was the first time I saw Lethal Weapon 2.
When did the first Lethal Weapon come out?
87.
87.
Okay.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon's my favorite action movie ever.
Oh, more than Die Hard and all.
That's what I was thinking of, because Randy, you gave part 1 and 2 both 5 stars.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon 2 is one of my favorite sequels ever.
Yeah.
I kind of think maybe I should rewatch them. You guys love them so much.
Those movies are great.
Here's my favorite thing. Like, if I ever shoot a person, ever,
you just say it random.
For any reason, it's just been revoked. And yelled at. And it won't make any sense. They'll be like, what? And I'll do, like, it's just been revoked.
That's why you said after you. No, he said it before, yeah, and then he shot him.
Diplomatic.
I love Danny Glover. Like, he's in this cheesy. This is not a good movie, but you guys know Pure Luck with Martin Short.
Oh my God, I love that movie. It's so.
So Danny Glover's one of those people that I grew up with. You just feel like this affection. So I should rewatch those Lethal Weapons because I just don't have memories like. But I remember Danny Glover from other shit like that. Like, he's just always been there, you know. I always liked him.
Pure Luck. I remember he got Martin Short.
Yeah.
He got stung by a bee.
A bee, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, you guys remember all this?
And so he funny. Got because that's what gave him the inspiration for Jiminy Blick. I don't know if y'all.
Oh, that makes sense, but I never put that.
Because he was just fooling around in the makeup, and he was looking for something new to do, and he went back to that.
That's really interesting. Like, my mom loves Martin Short, Christopher Lloyd. So anything with these two men, we've seen their entire career.
You guys
Christopher Lloyd, he haven't really talked that much. Mentioned.
Well, BTTF, yeah, all that stuff.
So that'd be part 1 and 2.
We haven't even talked about Eddie Murphy, who is the biggest 80s star. That if someone asked me who's the biggest 80s star, that's who I think.
It's crazy that kids at a certain age don't realize how huge he was.
You're thinking of who had a better run than Eddie Murphy in the 80s,
right,
and it's like, I don't know if anyone, at least
I got a movie for y'all. Best Defense.
Oh,
that movie's terrible, man. Worst movie ever.
I know about this movie because I really like Crazy People, and there's this like DVD set of Best Defense and Crazy People.
Not a DVD set.
I know Randy hates DVD sets. And all of the Amazon reviews are like, this Best Defense movie is so shit. And do they not even be in the same room at the same time?
No, they're not. They obviously shot Eddie Murphy stuff. They brought him in later. And in 80, when that movie came out, it was 84.
Yeah.
Because it came out like right before, or it just went under the radar.
It's not even funny or anything?
No.
It's terrible.
And
you can tell they paid Eddie Murphy $1 million just to show his face and ad lib.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Dudley Moore?
Dudley Moore.
Yeah.
He had a good run. But yeah, I love Crazy People. I don't know. I think that might be 1990. I don't know. That might be 1990.
Yeah, but
he was more like 70s or early 80s, I guess.
I think like Arthur was 1980.
Yeah, it was 80s.
I love Arthur. Arthur's so good.
People always talk about it.
And I'm bringing that up. He was nominated for an Oscar, Best Actor.
Oh yeah, he was.
Crap. That's crazy. Anytime I hear that someone was nominated for a comedy, like my mind is blown.
And the actor who played his butler won an Oscar for supporting actor.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
No wonder they tried to remake it with Russell Brand, and it was a disaster.
I still haven't seen that, so I can't speak.
Yeah, you're not missing it. You're not missing much.
I didn't want to do it that bad.
Yeah.
Of course, Nick is always there to chime in and say, I like it.
I don't hate Russell Brand's Arthur either.
I have it.
It wasn't terrible, and I love Russell Brand, but I mean, I don't know. It wasn't really needed, I guess.
Yeah, it's more like it was unnecessary.
Well,
I remember it, though, more than the sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember Arthur 2 at all.
Oh, okay.
On the rocks. Like, wow.
On the rocks.
Oh, my goodness.
I feel like that was a flop. I feel like Arthur did really well, and Arthur 2 was like...
So, for Randy, since you're being so uncharacteristically quiet, Eddie Murphy's best movie in the 80s.
Hey, I'm just letting y'all vibe, man.
Yeah, very good question. Very good question.
Randy.
I think we've talked about this stuff.
Coming to America.
Ooh. I have Trading Places as first. That's my
can't go wrong with either one of those. That's great.
And then there's also Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, Jesus. All right, yeah. Trading Places like Beverly Hills Cop in 48 Hours are kind of like, and honestly, Coming to America, really, like, they're all close to being as good as one another, in my opinion. I
tried 48 Hours, and I couldn't really...
Parts of 48 Hours have aged poorly, but, like, it's just too good.
Everything with Nick Nolte has aged poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, in 48 hours.
Too good of a one.
That's not my fave, I'm sorry. And I do think I definitely have Trading Places first, but I think I prefer Beverly Hills Cop over Coming to America. But they're all whatever. They're all great.
Yeah.
All right, so Stallone or Schwarzenegger?
I've probably never seen any popular Stallone movie. So
you ever seen any Rocky or Rambo?
No, that's not my thing. I mean,
Rocky?
What? You don't like art?
Is Rocky 180s?
No.
No, Rocky 170.
So
it's like 78, I think.
The first two are 70s.
Saturday Night Fever 2 was in the 80s.
Rocky 3 is 80, 83, I think. No, 82.
Yeah, I'm not good with his stuff.
Oh, no.
I've seen Cliffhanger. I think that's probably 90.
That's 93.
That's 93.
Yeah. That's the movie that
what about
scared
Stallone?
the
No
shit out of me.
Stallone? Terminator, Running Man, Commando, Predator.
You said Stallone, brother.
God damn. Like, I'm always tempted to say Stallone just because he was Rocky, and Rocky is like...
Did that start in the 70s or 80s?
I think Schwarzenegger, for me, was the more
Rambo
likable
80s.
action star
in the 80s.
But honestly, yeah, like in the 80s, like Commando kicks ass. Like Commando's
the Running Man.
Like Schwarzenegger might have had more good movies because like Stallone, other than
he based
like,
on his
the
series.
Rockies and the
Rocky Rambo,
had a lot of shitty movies.
If it wasn't Rocky or Rambo, Stallone was like Cobra, Over the Top.
Cobra's not that great.
Cannon movie.
Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash, like Rhinestone. Like he did a lot of shit. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He did a
That's
lot.
90 though.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's early 90s.
It's like 93, 94.
Thank God. Even like by then, like he was doing like Oscar, like by in like the 90s, he was already like just like
Arnold, the Conan movies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arnold. Yeah.
If anybody was close to Eddie Murphy's run in the 80s, it was Schwarzenegger.
And although
I'm saying, like Arnold came out of the gate in the 80s and was doing better stuff.
And there was another movie, I don't know if y'all saw it. Arnold was basically Conan, but by everything but name. Red Sonja. He was in that movie in a supporting role.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, they go Arnold. That's the only reason anybody watched that movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't for Bridget Nelson. Or maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not trying to sound mean. But
like, seriously,
but, Red Heat with Belushi.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. Like that, like
Twins.
Twins.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I'm just letting y'all go.
Yeah, Arnold definitely had a bigger variety of movies.
Comedy and that's crazy.
Yes.
Sci-fi, action.
Stallone basically outside of the Rambo and Rocky, he's had a couple of, not even a handful of movies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was Oscar in the
That's
80s?
90s.
I think that was 91.
91, yeah.
By the time you got to the 90s,
I saw it, but I don't remember it.
by the time you got to the 90s, like Stallone was already doing like shitty movies, whereas Schwarzenegger was like doing Total Recall.
Yeah. He was still up there.
Kindergarten
He was
Cop,
still running.
Terminator 2,
True
Last Action
Lies.
Hero, True Lies.
True Lies. Like, he was
True
still.
Lies, yeah.
That's very
and,
true.
like, Stallone,
Damn. So, yes.
He probably could have kept going, but he wanted to become governor.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all hear about
I guess we got our answer.
what Stallone did? I mean, what Schwarzenegger did to Stallone? So they had this like friendly rivalry, and their agents knew each other. So Schwarzenegger had this idea. He's like, I'm gonna say I want to do this movie so Stallone can get it from me.
Yeah.
To see if it'll work. So,
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger told his agent to leak that he wanted to do Stop on My Mom or Shoot
Oh,
to Stallone's
hey.
agent. And Stallone's like, no, I want to do that movie since he wanted to do it. And yeah, so Schwarzenegger was a prankster like
That's
that.
hilarious.
They talk about that.
that makes me sad because
'Cause
I love Estelle Getty. I think she's amazing.
It's just
that movie is dumber than like anything Arnold did. Like Arnold was pregnant in the movie. I would still say
That movie's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Junior.
Junior's not that bad. But
like Junior's funny.
yeah,
and,
like
like,
Stopper
Junior
My Mom
was
is rated like 1 on Letterboxd, I think.
Yeah.
jeez.
That
I'd like
makes
to
me
read some of the
If you ask me,
reviews
like,
for
who
those.
is the better actor? Like, who would I trust with my screenplay if I needed one of them to give me a
Stallone.
dramatic performance? Stallone every day.
Yeah.
Like, without that.
First
I get
Blood
why
is
you're saying that.
I
amazing.
mean,
I
he's
think
the
Schwarzenegger
actual
has been good.
multiple Oscar-nominated
Yeah.
actor, technically.
Like, yep.
Yeah. For
I
like,
think Schwarzenegger has been good in this.
yeah, for acting, I'm going Stallone. For action star in the 80s, I'm going Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Agree.
'Cause-
You know,
Yeah.
one of his best, it's not 80s.
First
but one
Blood,
of,
man.
Schwarzenegger's best acting, it's still an action movie, technically. I think in the
Batman
days,
and
if you
Robin.
Look at it.
Kindergarten Cop.
End of Days is good.
Well, yeah, Kindergarten Cop
In the
too. I mean,
days,
because he has to.
But that's one of my favorites.
Good morning.
Have you watched that movie Maggie that came out a few years ago?
He was good in
That's not
that.
an action movie at all. Like,
No.
that's like a drama.
That's a
And he's
yeah.
good in that movie.
Never heard of
But
it.
he's not, Rocky Balboa with cancer good. So, yeah. If I'm asking, like, who's the better actor?
Yeah.
That's why I'm always tempted to be like, oh, Stallone for sure.
Well, there's
like,
Copland. Is that a good?
Copland is amazing.
I heard that's good.
I think Copland. I was gonna say a minute ago, and I kind of thought, but I was like, by the '90s, it was like Stallone was already trying to kind of like revamp his career. Like he was like, I'm gonna do Cop.
So you say you haven't seen Copland, right, Melissa?
I might have.
You haven't seen it?
Bro,
no,
like, Stallone.
You blew it.
Stallone has said.
You'll see it.
Stallone has said he was so good in Copland, he couldn't get his solid action role for like 8 years until Rocky Balboa.
That sucks.
Yeah, sure. That's why. It's like, why aren't you working? It's like, it's because I was so good in Copland. It's like,
it's that ego.
Was he nominated for that one? Or?
He should have been.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm not sure.
It was like Oscar. He was like Oscar Chasen with that one. Like he was like, dude, I'm ready to get back in the game. And it didn't really work, but it's a good movie.
Let me see.
Yeah, I remember hearing that it was good at the time.
The last question that I got wrote down is, what's your favorite? It doesn't have to be made in the 80s, but what's your favorite movie that takes place in the 80s? Like for example, like Wonder Woman 84.
Well, that.
No, seriously.
Nope.
So
nobody says.
If we're not like, I'm gonna take 80s movies out of it because there's just too much material.
Yeah.
And if I do that, the first answer I came up with was The Wedding Singer. I love The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is fantastic.
That's it. Never mind. You killed the whole question.
I love Adam. I love Drew. I'm such a big Adam Sandler fan that there's like his big 3 movies in the 90s I loved, and then the other ones I didn't really pay enough attention to. So I rewatched Wedding Singer, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe how much I love it. Like
It's my favorite Adam Sandler movie for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I was like 5 stars. I love it. No.
That's probably the answer.
Yeah, if we're not counting Uncut Gems.
You said that, I can't think of another one.
Right. If we're not counting Uncut Gems, like prime Adam Sandler, Big Daddy and The Wedding Singer are my top 2.
I love Big Daddy. I'll defend Big Daddy all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Big Daddy's top 10. Big Daddy might be top 5.
My holy grail, my Mount Rushmore, as Nick always says, are, Billy, Happy, and Big Daddy. I love those 3, but now that I rewatch Wedding Singer, I'm like, damn.
Wedding Singer was so good.
I love it.
Number 1.
I think the 80s stuff turned me off, like his mullet and everything, and I just was like an immature child who was like, ew, But it's such a good movie.
It's so good, and it like mixes everything because it's real silly, like Adam Sandler humor is like. There's a lot of that incorporated into it, but it's also like a top tier rom-com. Like it's honest to God.
It's painful. Yeah, it's real. Yeah,
and it's funny. It's really romantic. It's like emotional at times. It's like the back and forth. I love The Wedding Singer is like a classic comedy.
Julia's last name's gonna be Gulia.
I've been sleeping on it for a long time. That's for sure.
You better get out of my way, Billy Idol.
So, did you guys come up with some others?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I just thought of X-Men Apocalypse, and I was like, that's not it. No. I just think of everyone wearing like.
How about Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good.
Hot Tub Time. The first Hot Tub Time Machine, yeah.
That's a good one too.
Because we don't talk about the second Hot Tub Time Machine, so Hot Tub Time Machine is
it didn't take place in the 80s anyway, so
that's another great one.
But one I have to choose The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, that's Nick's fave.
Talk about cocaine.
You forgot.
That was 80s and cocaine.
Double whammy.
But that's with the 80s aesthetic. There's another one, but it just takes place during it because the source material took place in the 80s. No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. Oh, that was the 80s?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's no Wedding Singer.
Exactly.
They don't. As far as the toying with the aesthetic of 80s, no, not at all. It just takes place.
You wouldn't even know that.
Yeah. And like Melissa just asked, that was 80s.
Coen Brothers love that. Like, Lebowski is 91, the Gulf War. And, like, they love doing these weird times. And that's why when I saw Burn After Reading, I was like, what? It's just today? Yeah. What the hell is it?
But another movie that does play with the 80s aesthetic, American Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't Oh, Wet Hot American Summer take place in
Yeah,
the 80s?
yeah. There's a whole bunch of them. I was just thinking, like, yeah.
It's just crazy how, like, just the 80s decade, we're missing, like, and we're still not even thinking of movies we haven't even mentioned.
No,
like,
yeah, there's gonna be a lot that don't
like
get brought up.
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
It's
crazy.
The Coens are other directors that blew in the 80s we didn't mention.
Yeah, but I mean, but they,
Blood Simple is
movie
great.
My dad used to watch all the time.
Like there's John Hughes. We didn't talk about John Hughes.
That's what 16 Candles. My dad loved that movie. My dad watched that movie all the time.
Oh, we should talk about John Hughes for like an hour.
Oh,
we should talk about John Hughes for like
him alone.
I'm trying to find like.
How did we skip over that?
I'm trying to find a good ending point so we don't have another hour.
Right.
We can do a part 2 another time.
We can't do a part 2.
3, 4, and 5 without just talking about John.
Did we do all your questions, Randy?
Yeah. The taking place in the 80s was my last question.
That's good.
Is there anything that y'all want to mention before
Melissa
we wrap it up?
Question.
Yeah, what?
For Melissa. All right, so you got to pick one.
Here we go.
Splash.
Yes. You got to pick one. Splash or Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Damn.
Oh, definitely Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Damn, really?
I don't hate the movie. It's just my least favorite.
Oh, I got you.
That's all. I just don't like the aesthetic.
So before we wrap it up, is there anything that y'all want to get in and talk about for the last few minutes?
John Hughes. Everyone's favorite John Hughes.
We're going to talk for another hour. Okay.
It's just weird to me that we skipped over.
Is Ferris and Breakfast Club are John Hughes, right?
Yes.
So those are my two favorites.
And then Planes, Trains?
Home Alone? No.
Home Alone was 90.
He produced.
90, yeah.
Home Alone was 90.
I like Ferris and Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Same here. My favorite directed John Hughes movie is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
But my God.
Like the Brat Pack era, my favorite is Breakfast Club. And then Ferris.
It's just so many hitters, man.
Yeah, Planes, Trains, and Ferris Bueller for me.
And then, like, Pretty in Pink wasn't directed by John Hughes, but I actually think Pretty in Pink is better than 16 Candles.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was that Howard
Did
Dutch?
16 Candles have that racist character? I'm sorry, I can't.
16 Candles has aged poorer than all.
Yeah, and that's another thing we really didn't talk about. 80s didn't give a damn.
No.
Well, Once Bitten is really offensive.
It is.
For sure. And like
being un-PC. And I'm sure, Melissa, you're talking about Long Duck Dong.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They didn't
I
give
can't
a
watch.
damn.
Yeah.
Dude, anytime that dude shows up in there, that's what I call him, and it's sad. Like, he was on ER. Like, he was on the entire series.
Oh, wow. I should look into his career. Yeah.
He was real good in Gung Ho. The dude who played.
Yeah.
He was like,
I'm gonna look it up. That's awesome.
The Donger. And I was like, oh.
The Donger.
He was also the
Donger. I was like, dude, that's the
Vamp.
Donger.
If anybody ever seen the movie Vamp?
Oh, and my girl, what's her name? Grace Jones. Yeah.
He's in
Bizarre
that.
movie. Good.
Another one of my favorite movies from the
What was
Fright
that name?
Night is also one of my favorites. Fright Night from the 80s.
We didn't even talk about the vampire movie.
When Harry Met Sally?
The Lost Boys.
Yeah, that was 89.
Near Dark. God, dog.
Near Dark is a Yeti. Damn it.
Well,
there's a lot of good shit in the 80s. Is great.
Yeah.
Great. Rain Man is in my top. It's like Back to the Future 2, and then Rain Man. I love Rain Man. Dirty Dancing, I love.
Yeah, it's a classic. I mean, even like movies, if you don't like them, it's like, well, Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Footloose, Flashdance, all that stuff.
Yeah, because Melissa had a very legitimate question that people was asked through the years with Footloose. They just knew how to dance.
Yeah, I saw that.
I watched it for the first time yesterday, and I said, if dancing was banned in this damn town, how did they know how to do it at the end of the movie? And they
poked fun at that in another teen movie. They're like, how does everybody know how to dance?
Yeah, and they danced well.
They were all doing it alone. Like, he was just like going to the warehouse or wherever he was, just like,
Yeah.
Like, they were doing that in their bedrooms, like.
And I was like, damn, Magic Mike took from this movie for sure. Because this reminds me so much of that. I'll throw in one more. Sorry, Randy. See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Richard Pryor and
Gene Wilder.
But Stare Crazy is definitely their gem together. But Stare Crazy in the 80s?
Yeah, but I don't like those as much.
Oh, come on.
I love See No Evil. That's my fave of the I've watched all 4, and that's my fave, personally.
Oh, man.
All right.
That was a funny movie.
Well, Sean, I appreciate you jumping in with us.
Anytime.
Melissa, I'm not going to have an idea for the next episode until right before the next episode, so deal with it.
No.
I'm going to come back, and I'm going to wrap this one up. Yo, it's ups and downs, man. Different cycles we go through. At the end of the day, I feel like different situations work out how they supposed to. Different people, true colors they showed you. It's all so you can grow too. Never look back and regret the old you. You know what your goals are, so get out there and work to achieve it. Stay home, perfect the craft while they act the ass on the weekend. Fuck any who's unsupportive, treat you like you unimportant. Face to face, pretend that they down. Talk shit and run their mouth when you not even around. You share your dreams with some who are gonna completely disregard it. They judge and laugh you off, treat your dream like it's retarded. Because they too scared to reach beyond their own bubble. That's the grind of every artist. They can't see past the crib and white fence. For success, you gotta drive the farthest. And chill until the next episode.